In the heart of Tokyo, hidden between neon lights and crowded streets, stood an ordinary apartment building no one feared at first. It wasn't abandoned, it wasn't cursed, and it didn't look dangerous from the outside. Yet inside apartment 702, something waited in silence. The first tenant moved in during the winter of 2014, excited about the skyline view and cheap rent. 3 weeks later, he was found dead on the kitchen floor. Police ruled it a suicide, but neighbors swore they heard something strange the night before. They described a low whisper moving through the walls like air crawling inside the pipes. The second tenant arrived 6 months later, unaware of the apartment's history. She told friends she loved the quiet and the way the room felt alive at night. 14 days later, she was murdered in her sleep with no sign of forced entry. Again, neighbors reported whispers echoing faintly through the building just hours before her death. Not loud enough to understand, but clear enough to know it wasn't imagination. By the third incident, rumors began spreading through the district. Apartment 702 was becoming something people avoided discussing out loud. The third victim lasted only 9 nights. He called building management the evening before he died. He complained about voices inside the walls repeating his name slowly. The manager inspected the plumbing, wiring, and ventilation systems. Nothing unusual was found. That same night, security cameras recorded him pacing his living room at exactly 3:13 a.m. His lips were moving as if arguing with someone invisible. The next morning, he was discovered in the bathtub. No wounds, no defensive marks, no clear explanation. Authorities sealed the apartment temporarily, suspecting environmental hazards. Air quality tests showed nothing toxic. Structural engineers confirmed the walls were solid and intact. Yet one detective noticed something disturbing. Each death occurred within 14 days of moving in. Each victim had reported strange whispers beforehand, and each died between 3 o'clock and 3:20 a.m. The pattern was too precise to ignore. Media outlets labeled it coincidence, but online forums called it ritualistic. The building owner tried lowering rent to attract new tenants. Eventually, a university student named Haruto volunteered to stay there for research. He documented everything with cameras, recorders, and motion sensors. The first 3 nights were quiet, almost disappointingly normal. On the 4th night, he captured something faint on his audio recorder, a whisper that wasn't his voice. When enhanced, it sounded like a single word, repeated slowly, "Stay up." Haruto dismissed it as electronic interference. But on night 6, the whispers grew clearer. They echoed from the bedroom wall near the headboard. He placed his ear against the plaster and felt vibration. At 3:11 a.m. he whispered back into the wall, asking who was there. The audio later revealed a chilling response. "You are." He froze, staring at the empty room illuminated only by city light. Nothing moved, nothing breathed, nothing should have been alive. On night 9, he began sleepwalking. Security footage showed him standing in the center of the room, unmoving, staring at the ceiling. His mouth moved in sync with faint static noise captured on the recorder. He later claimed he remembered nothing from those hours. On night 12, neighbors once again reported hearing whispers in the hallways, not from inside 702, but drifting outside the door. Haruto uploaded fragments of the recordings online. Audio analysts confirmed the sound patterns were structured like language. Linguists couldn't match it to any known dialect. On night 13, he wrote in his journal that the apartment felt hungry. He described pressure in his skull whenever he tried to leave. The next entry ended mid-sentence at 3:14 a.m. on the 14th night. Cameras inside the apartment glitched simultaneously. For 7 seconds, the screen filled with static. When footage resumed, Haruto was lying motionless on the floor. No wounds, no struggle. The coroner listed cardiac arrest, but he was 22 and healthy. Police reopened the case, now convinced something unnatural was occurring. They tore open sections of the walls looking for hidden speakers or passageways. Behind the drywall, they found something unexpected. A narrow cavity not present on official blueprints. Inside it lay old insulation soaked in dark stains. Forensic testing confirmed the stains were decades-old human blood. Records revealed the building was constructed over the remains of a pre-war boarding house. That boarding house burned down in 1946 after an unsolved mass murder. Survivors reported hearing whispers before the fire started. Construction crews in the 1970s sealed part of the foundation without explanation. Investigators hypothesized structural resonance caused auditory hallucinations. But that theory couldn't explain the consistent timing of deaths, nor could it explain the recordings responding intelligently. The building was evacuated permanently after Haruto's death. Apartment 702 was stripped to concrete and left empty. Yet months later, security guards monitoring the vacant building heard it again. A faint whisper drifting through hollow corridors at 3:13 a.m. Cameras recorded dust shifting across the bare floor without wind. The property owner attempted demolition, but legal disputes delayed action. Urban explorers eventually broke inside to document the abandoned structure. One live stream captured distorted audio for several seconds. Viewers claimed the whisper clearly said, "Come back." The stream ended abruptly when the signal cut. The explorers were found outside unharmed but shaken and silent. Today, the building still stands, its windows dark against Tokyo's glowing skyline. Officially, authorities attribute the deaths to psychological stress and coincidence. Unofficially, detectives refuse to speak about apartment 702 because every murder happened only after the whisper began, and according to archived audio, the whisper never stopped.